It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640, it's Conway Show. Seattle 2, Toronto 1 in the seventh game of the best of seven series. The game's being played in Toronto. Whoever wins this game is going to play the Los Angeles Dodgers on Friday in the first game of the World Series. So if Seattle holds on to this lead, they're in the third inning, they will go on to play the Dodgers. If Toronto comes back and wins, it'll be Dodgers versus Toronto, which might be more interesting for the TV audience. If it's Canada versus the United States, that might be more fun to watch than two West Coast teams. It's hard to get people to watch on the East Coast if both teams are on the Pacific Ocean. Very difficult. So we're pulling for Toronto. I was driving on Saturday to Morongo, and I think if you work, doesn't matter what your job is, I think you can always learn more about how to do your job better. And I did this weekend. I was listening to Neil Saavedra talk during his show the entire trip to Morongo. And he was casually talking to, I don't know, it sounded like two or three people about a totally immersive Disney haunted experience that is very popular this time of year near Halloween. And it must have been 4 or 5 or 6 segments. And it felt like they were in the car with me. It felt like I had friends in the car talking about this, this haunted experience that's somehow related to Disney. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear on Saturday. I didn't want to hear any politics. I know that there was that No King parade going on. Was it a parade or protest? I don't even know what it was. Was it a parade? I think it was a parade or protest. Okay. Bellio, please. You don't have to yell at me. Protest going on. And I it's not my vibe. So I turned on KFI, and Neil Saavedra was casually talking to these guys and gals about this Disney experience, and I loved it. And I learned something from listening to Neil Saavedra on Saturday. You don't have to constantly pepper people with questions and interview them like you're some kind of reporter on 60 Minutes. You can casually have a conversation with people, and people, I think, sometimes even enjoy that better. Like when Jason was here from LAPD, Jason Jacobson, it wasn't a strict interview. What about this? What about that? It's just two guys, talking. And I learned that from Neil Saavedra. That those more casual, longer form conversations with somebody are often better than a guy comes in for one quick segment, gives you 9 facts and splits. So, Neil, if you're listening, you helped me out. I learned got a big solid from Neil Saavedra. You should go back and listen to that podcast of Neil's show over the weekend. It's especially if you're a Disney fan. It's I'd have to have Neil. Hey, Bellio, maybe Neil can call up and tell us what that is, because I think that deserves some more attention.
Okay.
Because that Disney thing sounded unbelievable. Where you go in and it's like a haunted house. And I think there's a meal involved and the history of Disney. That was a cool deal. That was a swell deal. I was in my car eating Jack in the Box tacos in Redlands listening to Neil Saavedra. That was my Saturday. Before Morongo. And that's when it really kicked in. Morongo was great. Oh, what a hotel. What a staff they got there, too, at Morongo. I enjoyed that. All right, let's see. We got some more news. I know we're really newsy around here. And some of it is good. Some of it is bad. But and especially when we do crime, a lot of people are like, oh, you talk about crime all the time. Yeah, well, because it's people are getting broken into. Their homes are getting broken into all the time. So we do try to do that. But then we also have some lighter stuff as well. Like Sharon Bellio, we just call her Bellio. She's a major Broncos fan.
Major.
And she has never once in my life sent me a text saying, hey, did you see the Broncos game? I didn't happen to catch it, but I went back and looked at the 20-minute highlight reel, I think on ESPN. And you've never done that before. So I'm sure it had to be an unbelievable game.
I've never, ever, ever, ever done that to you. And it was a historic game.
It was incredible. They were getting shut out for the first three quarters, and they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter to win 33-32. It was an unbelievable comeback, and it's one of those things where it's probably the top of the news for the entire day in Denver. It was probably everyone was talking about it. Nobody could believe that comeback happened. It was sensational. So if you missed it, here's what happened on Sunday in Denver.
And at about 6 o'clock Eastern, if you told me we'd have this in the A block, I'd wonder what the hell happened. Well, here's what happened. The Giants largely control this football game. They lead 7-0. It's 3rd and 11. Here comes Cam Scadaboo, and he wants to make sure, boom, you can take that with you. He's going to deliver a blow and get his touchdown. Jude McAtomney. Oh, that's no good. It's just long enough that it's not a given. 13-0. So what?
13-0 New York.
You're about to add to it as Tyrone Tracy here has a gigantic opening. That's as easy a score as you're going to see in the league. Broncos with Nick, same idea. This time he throws to R.J. Harvey, the rookie. And it's now a 3-point game. Ensuing Giant drive. And this is a very quick 3-and-out as he's looking deep for Robinson, overthrows him.
Okay, so let's cut to the fourth quarter, and the Denver Broncos are down by 19 points in the fourth quarter to the New York Giants.
Not where you want to be, and at some point I knew we've done it before in the fourth quarter. We're gonna, at some point we're gonna go down and score. Now maybe too late, we may not score enough, but at some point we're gonna do it.
Down by 19.
Including Denver's victory on Sunday, teams who trail by 18 inside of 6 minutes now, 2 and 3,677
wow.
since the merger.
Did you hear that stat? Listen to the stat. For teams that are down by 18 or more in the fourth quarter, here's how infrequently they win.
Including Denver's victory on Sunday, teams who trail by 18 inside of 6 minutes now, 2 and 3,677 since the merger. The other, to pull off his feet, the 2003 Colts against the Buccaneers. Wasn't that Monday Night Football? I believe it was. On the losing side, you saw how upset the head coach was, and you can understand. Here's Brian Dable and Jackson Dart.
The coach of the Giants.
Tough loss. Put their heart and soul into it. So, not a lot of talking that needs to be done when you lose a game like that. Everybody gave everything they had.
Were you beating yourself up over the interception?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't do that. It's...
Wow.
We were in full control of the game. In that situation, you can't do that. I gotta be way better than that. I mean, that's unacceptable. I gotta be better.
Down by 19 points. Was he crying there at the end?
Yeah, I gotta be better.
Down by 19 points with less than 6 minutes to play, and they won.
Tim with us, as promised. Something like this can only happen if you stack many, many factors, right. Obviously. But Bo Nix, he said it. I'm thinking, how do I answer questions after we get shut out? He and they had nothing going. And the analogy I made when I walked into the studio tonight is it felt a little bit like a three-point shooter, a really good three-point shooter who can't buy one. And
So the Broncos had 0 points in the start of the fourth quarter. 0. They scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. 19 of those points scored in the last 6 minutes to beat the New York Giants 33-32.
And Bo Nix had 2 touchdown receptions through 2 of them, and then rushed for 2, which is also a record.
That is truly historic. And you heard the numbers. There's only been 2 out of the 3,000 or 4,000 games that have been played where a team comes back more than 18 points down with 6 minutes left. That is incredible. Did you watch it live, Belly, or did you catch it? Oh, you did?
Yeah. John was like, you got to see this. You got to see this. So I was able to catch most of the fourth quarter.
Wow. What a game, huh?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of John Elway.
Okay. All right.
How he was the comeback kid.
Yes.
And then Bo Nix just turned it on, and obviously his receivers and the guy that had the interception, and it was great.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. And New York got screwed because they don't have a kicker on their team. I think it's a guy who once played high school football. They don't have a professional kicker on their team, and that cost them the game. What a game, though. Denver Broncos beat the Giants after being down by after scoring 0 points in the first 3 quarters. They scored 33 in the fourth quarter, and again, 19 with about 6 minutes to play. Unreal. All right, we're live on KFI. KFI AM 640. It is the Conway Show. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we said there was some big news when it comes to Jack in the Box. And Belia was working on it all weekend. She was doing some research on the story. And she was about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 interviews away from getting all the facts straight. And she got them. And so we've confirmed the story. We couldn't do it on Friday. We didn't have enough resources and enough, enough duplicates, enough confirmation on the story. But Belia worked all weekend. She was on the phones. You may have saw, if you went to the party, you probably saw her on the phone. She was on the phone all weekend with, is it Yadav? I think it's Yadav, talking to about the Jack in the Box sale. But here's the nuts and bolts. In 2022, Jack in the Box bought Del Taco for $575 million in 2022. All right, that was 3 years ago, right around 3 years ago. They expanded. They now own Del Taco. It was going to be one big happy marriage. And then Jack in the Box's stock had some trouble. And so they've turned around and they've sold Del Taco to Yadav Enterprises. They bought it for $575 million and just last week sold it for $115 million. Yep, that's a loss of about $460 million. I'm a big fan of Jack in the Box. I don't know how this is going to improve their business, but I'm sure it will. And the reason for the sale is Jack in the Box is shifting to a simpler, asset-light business model to focus on its core brand. Jack in the Box had acquired Del Taco for, again, $575 million and sold it for $115 million. Unreal. Belia, you did a great job all weekend trying to get that information.
Thank you, Tim.
Great job. Just terrific. You were terrific. All right, Neil Saavedra is going to come on with us next. On Saturday, I listened to his show driving out to Morongo, and he had these guys and gals on talking about this really cool Disney experience where it's a live action haunted house. I think there's a meal involved, and it just sounded really cool. The history of Disneyland and Walt Disney, where he was born, and trying to save the house that he was born in. Anytime you talk about Disney on the radio, people are glued to the radio, and that was me on Saturday. So we'll come back. We'll talk about it and the URL where you can get involved this Halloween. If you're going to spend your Halloween dollar on anything, this sounds like a really cool event. So we'll talk to Neil Saavedra when we come back. The Fork Reporter on the Fork Report every Saturday right here on KFI. It's Conway Show.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, it's Conway Show. Still keep an eye on the baseball game. Seattle or Toronto is going to play the Dodgers Friday. The World Series starts on Friday. And right now it's in the fourth inning. It's Seattle 2, Toronto 1. And whoever wins this game is going to play the Dodgers on Friday at World Series. Day before yesterday on Saturday, I was driving to Morongo, listening to Neil Saavedra, and he had the coolest guest on, so I want to have him on and pick his brain, because people are with kids and young adults are always looking for something cool to do around Halloween, and you don't want to do the same thing over and over. So this is all new, and I thought it was great. It was just a couple of guys literally talking for about an hour, and I couldn't stop listening. I had to wait until commercials to go in and actually get my food at Jack in the Box. And Neil Saavedra is with us. Neil, how you, bub?
Hey, I'm good, buddy. How are you?
How's your back? I heard you threw your back out and you couldn't make it on Saturday.
Yeah. So what you were listening to is actually a repeat of a show earlier in the month, but it was a good one. I'm with you. They were fascinating people on bringing more guests onto the program and to talk about things going on and, people that are interesting. And certainly the folks from Haunted OC are in that category.
And I also learned by just listening that, it doesn't have to always be peppering with questions. It's just casually listening to people. And it felt like I had like 3 or 4 friends in the car on the drive out there, and it made the drive go by. It seemed like minutes.
Oh, that makes me happy. I felt the same way. These are, there's super fascinating people out there. A lot of them kind of tie into hospitality or events or food or things like that. And one of the guys I was talking to, I'm assuming is the one you were talking about, and that's Dusty Sage. He's like a renowned historian when it comes to Disney. And as a matter of fact, he was hired to help the current owner of the Disney's first mansion in Los Feliz. It's a beautiful home. And it was, his first big house in Los Angeles. And he helped the newest owner take it back to how it was during the time that Disney lived there.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's insane. So I went and I took the tour last year, but the thing you were talking about, there's tours that you can take. There's some daytime that are just kind of the historical tour of the property, which I highly recommend. I took a nighttime one last October, and they talk about some of the feelings that people have gotten there and some of the stories behind it. I don't want to ruin anything, but there are some insane ties to true crime in this house. And it's done in such a way with care and dedication to the history that, Dusty just takes you on this amazing tour. He's also the CEO and the creator of micechat.com.
Okay.
For those that love Disney, they will know him from that. But he does the tour, and the folks at hauntedOC.com are the ones that put this on. If anybody's curious about any of their tours, just go to hauntedOC.com and you can see if there's availability. The evening of Halloween is what I think you were talking about. And that is they're doing like a speakeasy there.
Oh, that's great.
So it's basically a special event. It's one night only, and it's at the Disney Mansion. They have the Legend of Sleepy Hollow Cabaret there. They'll have drinks and food, and this is the only thing that I've ever heard where you could actually go in that home and eat.
Oh, that's great. That's a great idea.
So,
I mean, you don't have to go to dinner before and then get there. You can enjoy the entire night. But I was fascinated with a couple of things they talked about. The Kellogg House Ghost Tour, if I remember that correctly, and then also the San Juan Capistrano Ghost Walk.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And you know what? And I was thinking, before they told me the price, I was thinking, okay, $90 a person, $100 a person, but they're doing it for $32 a person.
Yes, a lot of those tours and walks where they go around historical properties are very reasonable, and they're super cool to do. They're spooky, but the history is key. As a matter of fact, the woman that gives the tours is actually our very own Dean Sharp's sister.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And so I'm sure she's looking at the structure of the house and the windows and the flooring.
She's like, you can see here by dropping marbles that there's something wrong with the foundation.
Right, yeah. I got a perfect foundation guy for you. That's classic. Just turns into a live read. But also another thing that they had talked about I thought was cool, I'd love to do, is the downtown the Santa Ana Ghost Walk.
So some of these, like I said, some of these are done by Darcy. Darcy Staniforth is Dean's sister, and she's a doll. She's just brilliant. She has her degrees in history and things like that. And they take you through these places. They also have some other great tour hosts. And they take you through these places, and they tell you about the history of the building itself and some of these places are just gems. I mean, the Kellogg House was built in 1898. So
wow.
There's a lot behind this stuff, and they give it its due when it comes to the history, as well as some of the paranormal activities that have been talked about. And they do a great job. So that's hauntedOC.com. And you can go look through all those, like you said, downtown Santana. They have, that's how you say it. Santana. They just mush it together.
Right.
It's like San Bernardino.
But it's great timing, now, with kids, you got kids, maybe, you're a young adult and you've been to Universal, you've been to Knott's, and those are great, but you can't go back 4 or 5 nights in a row. You got to, mix it up. And to have these tours available where you can go with 5, 6, 7 friends on a casual night, it's a great idea. How long have they been doing this?
Oh, they've been doing this for a long time. They have a bunch of not only these tours and stuff, but you can do private ghost walks. Like you said, if you have a bunch of friends that want to go, they can do that and set it up. But Ernie is the guy who puts all this stuff on. They're all just really cool people. Ernie actually manages Bob Gurr, who is the oldest living Imagineer. He worked with Disney.
Oh, wow.
And he's the one who designed the Doom buggies for the Haunted Mansion and anything, the monorail. He's 90. He'll turn 94 on the 25th of this month, and he has a tattoo of the monorail on his chest.
Wait, but he worked in the creation of Disneyland?
Oh yeah, no, he created the Matterhorn. He designed the Matterhorn.
God.
He designed the monorail. He designed anything. He also went on to with his own company after he left being, once an Imagineer, always an Imagineer.
Sure.
But he built the original King Kong, the big, huge animatronic at Universal.
That's awesome.
He designed and built that. He's done so many different rides and creations, but he was absolutely inseparable from the creation of Disneyland. If it moved, Autopia, that's all his design. He created all of those things. Anything that moved that was on wheels or anything like that in the original Disney, Bob Gurr was the man.
Yeah, and I know where he lives in Burbank. I drove by his house, and he put it all on the screen. You drive by, and there's just one tiny pumpkin in his yard for Halloween. Sucks.
It's just, well, you kind of burn out.
Right.
You work at a donut shop. You don't want to eat donuts anymore, that kind of thing.
That's right.
Kind of lost the spark. He's like, that's it, kids.
Yeah. Original idea.
You ungrateful brats. I built everything for you. Now leave me alone.
That's great. Buddy, I enjoyed listening all the way out. It sounded, seriously, and I've said it a billion times, but it sounded like I was driving and I had all of a sudden 3 or 4 friends in the car just casually talking about this, and I was, eavesdropping on them. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, I was eyeballs deep in Tylenol with codeine and vodka shots. So thanks, Bob.
You're the way to go. How'd you throw your back out?
I don't know. It wasn't one thing. It happened slowly over a week, and then I went Friday night to go help with my son's school's haunted house, and I moved a couple things, and it just dropped. The hook goes out, and you're immobile.
Yeah, there's when you have like a broken leg or like a sprained wrist or whatever, that you can get by, but when your back is out, that's all you think about is getting better.
No, you can't move.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I don't take pain pills when I got my surgery.
Oh my
I didn't
God,
take pain pills, but when it comes to the back, you're immobile and. What can you do?
Yeah. No, you got to be on pain pills, buddy. You got to look.
What else would keep me from your party, buddy?
If you're in radio, I think you have to have a prescription on you.
Is that right?
That's right.
Just in case, break this bottle.
Yeah, exactly. HauntedOC.com is the website.
Yes, sir. It's fantastic. They're good folks too.
Excellent, really good. Buddy. Thanks for coming. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Bye.
All right, Neil Saavedra, HauntedOC.com. These tours sound amazing. So if you got a couple of bucks left for Halloween, I recommend it. HauntedOC.com. It's Conway Show. It's now 3-1 Seattle over Toronto. They just hit a home run. So if Seattle wins this game, it'll be LA and Seattle in the World Series. If Toronto comes back, Toronto and the Dodgers. We'll let you know. We'll see how close we get towards the end of the program. We're live on KFI. KFI AM 640. It's Conway Show. We got to thank a young lady who came out on Saturday. I think it's the sister of this woman who owns the Florist. Candy's sister. It's Candy's Florist in El Monte. El Monte. Since 1953, Candy's Florist has been in El Monte. That's unbelievable.
Those flowers were stunning.
Yeah. Now I know why she's been in business since 1953. She knows what she's doing. And I've always said, Bellio, you know me, I always said that flowers are the music of the grounds from Earth's lips spoken without sound.
You say that a lot.
I know.
Like a lot.
Oh, Sammy didn't hear it? Oh, I'll repeat it. Flowers are the music of the ground from Earth's lips spoken without sound. I think it was Edwin Curran that said that. And
what is it about that saying that quote that you've always loved?
Well, because I used to screw up a quote about spring, and Steckler would always get pissed at me, my old partner. But I wrote something that I thought was pretty good, and he said grammatically it sucks, creatively it sucks, and he said, please stop using that. And I'll tell you what it was that made him so angry. I used to say, spring has sprung, the grass is riz, tell me where the flowers is.
I agree with Steckler.
You don't like that?
He's right in everything that he said.
Really?
Yeah, really.
It's grammatically correct.
It is?
Yeah. Spring is sprung. The grass is riz. Tell me where the flowers is. Tell me where the flowers are. Is that the problem you have with it? All right, Bella. You're a stickler. You know, you're really sometimes too much. Too much. Way too much.
You're too much.
That's a great comeback.
I got you right between the eyes on that one, didn't I?
Yeah. Wow, you're unbelievable. All right, college graduates. If you're a college graduate, new study shows that college graduates are getting a lot of the jobs. The most unemployed. How about that? Just kidding. The most unemployed.
These days, you can find 26-year-old Savannah Adamo online.
A lot of screen time, just clicking.
The recent college graduate says she is working full-time.
It does lose its spark after a while.
On trying to find a job. How many jobs do you think you have applied to?
I would say 100. Probably 1,000.
Adamo's resume is impressive.
1,000 jobs she's applied and got none of them.
The collegiate rowing athlete has a bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley and a master's degree from Cambridge University in England.
Whoa!
It's supposed to be like an exciting time, but it's definitely...
Can you imagine how expensive that was to get those 2 degrees?
Kind of like beating your head against the wall.
Yeah. She's been trying to find work in media, but at this point, she says, she'll do anything.
I feel at this point a little burnt out. Again, I am very lucky that I have a place to go, albeit my mom is ready for me to leave, and I'm on my last hours.
Oh, parents must be just pulling their hair out
Adamo
with this one. Something else, this one.
Adamo is not alone in her frustration. A July study by labor-focused think tank Burning Glass Institute showed that 20 to 24-year-olds with a college degree are seeing the most extreme levels of unemployment.
Wow.
Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows first-time job seekers or those looking for new entrant employment is now at a 9-year high.
Whoa.
That makes your job hard.
It's very hard. This year has been one of the most challenging years.
Juliet Murphy has been career coaching for nearly 13 years.
There's so many people competing for these jobs in the midst of the uncertainty, in the midst of the layoff, in the midst of AI.
Okay, keep going, keep fighting. You'll find a job. It's just difficult right now, but you've got all those degrees. Somebody will hire you. That's all I have to offer. All right, Andy Reesmeyer coming up next right here on KFI AM 640. Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.